Okay, again, welcome. Now, the name of our company is called Superior Realty, helping build wealth for families one at a time. Okay, now, not a lot of real estate companies say that, do they? Normally, all they do is represent buyers and represent sellers. We're going to talk about how we're different in a lot of ways. Now, before we get started, can you guys turn your phones to vibrate or silent or off? That way you don't disturb the person next to you or myself. And try to leave your questions to the end. You guys can write it down on the survey or in the back. And at the end, I promise I'll answer all of your questions, okay? And of course, the survey that I give you, if you guys can fill it out at the end is fine. You guys don't have to do it right away. Okay? Now, a quick disclosure, we're not attorneys. We're not advising in any way. We're simply just sharing thoughts and ideas. Okay? Does that make sense, everyone? Is that okay? Because a lot of people are too crazy, right? He told me to do this, and stuff happens. So we're not attorneys, okay? Now, before we get started, let's do a quick aptitude test. Have you guys ever heard of an aptitude test? Ever? An aptitude test is so I can see where you guys mindset is. Okay? So there's a few shapes up here. There's a square, triangle. I think that's like a sideways sphere, and then I think it's like a hexagon. Okay? Now, to yourself, don't say it out loud. Pick one of these, okay? So you can either be a square, a triangle, this one, like a sphere, or a hexagon, okay? You guys all got it? Okay. Now, who's a square in here? Who picked square? Nobody? Okay, well, you guys would have been methodical and well organized. So nobody's well organized in here? Okay, who's a triangle? Okay, 2, 3 triangles, 4 triangles? Okay. You're bold and decisive. Bold and decisive. That's pretty good, right? Any teardrops in here? 2? Okay. You guys are obsessed with sex and booze? And the last group, the hexagon, too late. The joke is over. This is just so you guys can line up. This is going to be a fun presentation. All it is information. We're not here to sell you on anything. Okay? If you guys do decide to buy or sell later, then we can help you with that. We're not here to sell you. We're just educating. Is that okay with you guys? Is that pretty fun?
Yeah.
Did you already learn more than your teachers? Okay, so who are we? Our vision is helping families make their American dream come true and helping families with an alternative retirement plan through real estate. Now, who in here has a retirement plan? Okay. Now, just 2 people out of all of us have a retirement plan. Now, believe it or not, that's basically the world. It's normally about 5%, maybe 10% have a retirement plan. Nobody ever thinks about retirement until they're about 10 years away from retirement. Have you guys ever noticed that? Nobody my age, but I'm 28, I'll just tell you, nobody my age is thinking about retirement. And they probably don't think about it till later for that reason. And we'll go a little bit more into that. And our mission is to create and protect wealth for families by empowering families through financial education, using and teaching our wealth building plan. Okay, so with retirement, most people don't think about where they're going to be at 65. Okay? These are the stats, and this isn't from me. This is from the Social Security Department. They normally check every year or 2 years, and it's basically about the same. 1% of the nation is wealthy when they retire. 4% is financially comfortable. So what's the difference between wealthy and financially comfortable? Can anybody tell me?
Wealthy would be something that you're still probably earning money from investments or your rentals or something. You're still very wealthy and have money coming in without you having to work. Financially comfortable would probably be that you're not struggling month to month.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. And you have enough, so you're not really leaving debt to your heirs, and you're just paying off what you have, and that's it. But the 1% wealthy, they have money to give to their heirs, to their family, their family's family, and all that, right? Because they're wealthy. 7% is deceased. We can't help with that, right? 25% is still working. If you don't believe me, go over to Walmart. You'll see, older people. It's going around more and more. You'll see older people in different places. And 63% are dependent on either the family, the government, or other types of income. So they can't do it by themselves. All because either they didn't have the financial education or they didn't plan right. And like I said, nobody even thinks about it until they're 10 years into it. And they don't teach it in school, do they? Did they teach us anything about financial education? Normally they taught us academics, right? How to become a doctor, lawyer, how to, math, English, how to dissect frogs. Did you guys ever dissect frogs? Right? Is that helping you guys today? No? Right? So the retirement plan, what people don't think about, and I believe financial advisors sit down and they talk about this, but it takes a lot of money to retire. Would you guys agree? Okay. Now, normally, the plan that they teach us in school is the 40-40 plan, right? Work for 40 years and you retire with 40% of what you're making in the future. Do you think it's getting cheaper or more expensive in the future? That's that part. So retirement, like let's say for example you want about $7,000 a month come in, you have to put $1.6 million aside to make that money per month. Now, who puts $1.6 million aside for themselves? Normally just the wealthy because they learn a lot earlier, right? If you want to make even more, then you're going to have to set aside more. Same thing if you want less. But remember, in the future, it's going to be more expensive. So even if you have $4,000 or $5,000, you'd be comfortable right now. In 30 years, it's going to be a whole different story. And we're going to talk about that. In fact, this is the reason our purchasing power over the last 100 years has gone down dramatically. Did you guys know that? Yeah. The same dollar that would have got us, a lot more today gets us almost nothing. And it's because, what's happened to the economy and the nation, what the money is backed by. You guys know what the money is backed by? Today. Absolutely nothing, exactly. It used to be backed by gold and silver. When they took that away and they can print as much as they want, that's what happened to our dollar. Now, in every other country that this has happened, you guys know what's happened to the dollar? Not the dollar, but their own currency? It's gone to the zero, what it's actually worth. Okay? So let's talk about the cost of goods over time. These are some of the items. Like a single postal stamp in 1980 was 15 cents, now it's 49 cents. So that's an increase of 204%. You like the slides? Yeah. Since I'm a graphic designer, I do stuff pretty fast. A dozen eggs in 1980 was 48 cents. So in 2015, today it's $2. That's an increase of 316%. You guys think this is pretty big? Right? It's increasing. It's the same amount of things. Okay. If our money was still backed by something, gold and silver, this wouldn't happen. Okay, it might go up just a tiny little bit, but it wouldn't go up like these type of percentages. Bacon, $1.20 in 1980. Today, $6.11. That's 409%. A house, 62,000 in 1980 is now 280, which is actually average here. It's about 300,000 in Montana. It's actually a little higher, but that's 346%. And yet our average income has only increased 204%. So it's not catching up. And is it more expensive or is it cheaper to go to school today? More expensive. Okay, so it's more expensive to learn the education to get a better job. So you're going into debt trying to get the education you need to pay the bills while all the money, all the expenses going up. Is that pretty crazy? Yeah. Okay, now you guys know why the rich is getting richer and the poor is getting poorer. Okay? Now let's talk about the magic of compound interest. By the way, everything that I talked about so far, don't you guys wish that we were taught this in school? This is what I talk about in financial education, what schools should teach us and should teach our kids. All they do is teach us math, English, and stuff, and then at the end of 18 years, here, pick something, and then they only use about, 5-10% of what they learn. Okay? So the rule of 72, very simple. Divide 72 by the interest rate of either inflation or the money you're going to make to estimate the number of years it will take your money to double, either with you or against you. Okay, now inflation, the average is about 4 or 5% a year. That's going against you. But if you were to make money, 6, 8, or 10%, this is how much you would make, and it would double the amount of years if you divide 72 by that number. 72 divided by 6, that would give you the amount of number, the number that you need to know when it's going to double. Does that make sense, everyone? Yeah? So obviously, the higher interest, the better. But what people don't see is because of the compound interest, even if it's the same amount of money, $1,000 in this case, it doubles a lot faster and it goes up. So instead of 32,000, it goes up, 512,000, and time compounds it. Okay? Now, again, if we were taught this when we were younger, then if we would have started investment accounts, some people would agree with me in here about investments because financial advisors and our insurance. Do you think we'd make more money over a lifetime? because the magic of compound interest is working with us instead of against us. Now, the people who think about retirement 10 years before, they only have 10 years to use this. Okay, so that's why it doesn't double as much as it should. That's why there's people in Walmart, that's why there's 63% of people that are dependent. Okay? So there's four things that we mainly do. Okay, we do traditional buying, selling, and helping, represent buyers and sellers, just like anyone, Centric, One, Remax, all these companies you guys probably heard about, right? Probably get all the postcards or business cards on the floor, right? Investments, we also do investments, which we'll talk about. We do a lot of education. I think education is the biggest piece. There's really no one in the industry that educates as much as us. And the education that there is out there, especially for investments, it costs a lot of money. Has anybody ever gone to like a Donald Trump or a Kiyosaki or, flip this house type of seminars? Right? How much do they normally charge? You guys have gone to the free one day, right?
No, I went to I think it's like $2,000.
That's for the weekend one, right? Yeah. You didn't pay for that, right?
My wife did.
Oh, okay. But you didn't go?
Yeah.
Oh, you did go?
We went to Georgia.
Okay. So once you go, then they try to sell you to the $40,000-$50,000
Yeah,
one, right?
now my wife is going next weekend to Vegas.
Yeah. So they try to upsell you. But they give you a lot of good information.
Yeah, they give you a lot of information and a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like to work with.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm here to learn how to use that stuff.
And the reason people pay that money is because that's actually how we learn. I should actually put that in the presentation, but the way we learn is how to do it. So the people that pay the 40 grand, the reason it's worth that is because they make money in it, because you're with people doing it. Not a lot of people learn from just reading.
I went to that office in Robert Kiyosaki.
Me too, by the way. I went to Realty.
The 3-day one, and then I did the $500 one. So it was like a weekend, and then I got a credit card and I went to actually went for it.
Oh, you did?
$5,000 I paid with that one.
So have you done investments and stuff?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay. See, so it's worth it once you get there, but it's pretty expensive, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now, don't you wish again we were taught this when we were kids instead of just, paying this company? And the last thing we do is giving back. Okay. The money that we make, we don't just keep it all. We give a percentage back. It's in the Bible, and so we do it. Pretty simple. Now, education. There's a lot of education we talk about. We do a lot of Robert Kiyosaki's education. Have you guys ever heard of the quadrant, the cash flow quadrant? Who hasn't heard of it? Okay, you guys all haven't heard of it? Okay, I'll do this real quick. Robert Kiyosaki, he's a billionaire. His wife, we actually met her and him about 2 weeks ago, and she owns right now 8,000 properties just under her name, or that she controls. They're not actually under her name, but that's correct. But she owns 8,000, and I don't know how much Robert Kiyosaki owns, but would that change your life if you owned 8,000 properties under your belt?
Yep.
That's a lot of money. But what they teach is this quadrant. It's in the second book called Cash Flow Quadrant. E, S, B, and I. So E means employee. So the school system teaches all of our kids to be employees. They don't really teach much else until you go to college. The next one is self-employed. So once you get tired of working for somebody, what do people do? I want to, own my own business. So a plumber decides to own his own business. An electrician that used to be just a technician owns his own business now. Realtors, they become brokers and they open up their own firms, right? All because they want to be they don't want a boss anymore, right? They want to be their own boss. But most people don't jump over to the B&I. Now the B&I is where the wealthy are. That's 5% of the world. 95% stay on the left-hand side. Okay? Now B's, they don't invest in money. They invest in people. So they leverage other people's time, other people's money, other people's everything. So they create systems. Yeah? Have you guys ever noticed that McDonald's always have young kids pushing it and doing it? By the way, some things are going to change with that. Have you guys started seeing kiosks doing their job? You're going to see it more and more. Now you're going to see kiosks where you just, pick what you want. And, it's a big thing. You guys know those things are about $15,000. So in the first year, they already cut their costs on paying an employee. They're normally paying like $20,000 to $23,000 a year to have an employee doing the same thing. And you don't have to pay any benefits or anything to the kiosk. So a lot of things are going to change over the next few years. So the B and then the I's are investors. So investors, they exchange money to make more money. So that's the investment side that we'll talk about. The big thing on the left-hand side is as soon as they get out of school, what do they want? To get a job. Okay. Now on the right-hand side, when they come out of school, they want to start building a business so they can start hiring people. You see the big difference in mindset? Yeah? Now on the left-hand side, they want a W-2, so that way they get consistent security, right? And on the right-hand side, they want to become an entrepreneur. On the left-hand side, everyone wants a degree. The more degrees, the better, right? What they teach. On the right-hand side, they can care less about a degree. They want financial education. Yeah? And that's really what makes you rich. On the left-hand side, they talk more about saving money. Have you guys ever heard that? The bank talks about it a lot. The bank and the school system talk about saving money. You're going to have a credit card, instead of 30% interest, why not 20% interest, right? So you can save. On the right-hand side, they can care less how much they're paying because they're investing. Does that make sense? So it doesn't matter if you're going to pay 30% interest, if you're going to make 50 or 60% interest. Right? Would you guys do that all day long? Right? I've asked, 100 people, do you think 30% is a lot of interest? Yes. Right? Most people would say yes. And then they say, no, I wouldn't pay that. Okay? But the people that are rich, they would say, well, what's my return? You see that mindset? See that? And it's all because of what we're taught. Left-hand side worries about interest. The right-hand side is the return on investment. Left-hand side, they're basically told what to do because they're in an employee mindset, right? Just follow orders. The right-hand side make all the decisions and want to make decisions. Left-hand side think as consumers. The right-hand side make money on consumers. And the left-hand side worries about debt and wants to cut their debt. And the right-hand side could care less how much debt they have as long as they leverage it to make more money. Okay? In fact, Robert Kiyosaki and his wife, he talked about this. I think he said this year, last year, they went into debt $300 million. And now most people would be too scared to go into that debt, but they don't see it that way. They leverage because going 300 million into debt are going to make them 600 million. Now would you guys do it? But again, they don't teach you this at school, right? They just get you to be scared of debt and how to pay it off. So we have something called the Wheel of Fortune, where we have to learn different things, and this is what we teach our clients and we teach our agents each piece, so that way we can help our clients get through and make money and make wealth. So the left-hand side, the first one is real estate planning. We don't just get them a house. Most people, they say what type of house they want, a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and we find them what they want, and that's it, right? What we do is we plan. And if they want to make, have wealth in real estate, we plan it out and we see how much they can afford, how much cash flow, and we go through the whole thing. Mortgage planning. Most people, they just get a 30-year fix, right? Now, you guys know a few years ago there was these things called auction arms, right? Now, most people think they were horrible because all these people lost their houses. Do you guys blame the auction arms? Okay, no, right? The reason why, it's just a tool. Auction arms weren't for the regular people that needed a 30-year. They were only for investors. Because investors weren't going to stay there forever. They were only going to be there a year or two. So it's perfect for the investor, but it's not perfect for the regular person. The problem is realtors and whoever was giving them advice, they were getting auction arms. Okay, so we do mortgage planning to see what's better for them. Okay? If we're going to be in something small and they don't have credit, we get them hard money. We do all the planning that goes into it depending on their situation. Asset protection. There's a lot of people that buy houses, they go to those programs, but they don't protect their wealth. So what happens as soon as they get sued? Everything's wiped overnight. Right? So asset protection is really huge. The number one thing is them putting it under their name. And if you could do one thing, just don't put it under your name. Put it under a land trust or living trust or something else that's out of your name. That way, if attorneys look you up, you don't own anything. Does that make sense? Even if the mortgage is under your name, you owe it, but you don't control it. You control it, but it looks like you don't own it. Does that make sense? So asset protection, if you just take that one thing, okay? Business structuring. Okay, same thing, you can own a business and I could own real estate. There's different ways of doing that, so we teach that. Tax planning. Now, I'm not a tax professional and I don't really like taxes, but you can save a lot of money when you own a business and when you have real estate. You guys know that? Yeah? So just right there, just getting in and not making more money will save you $6,000 to $10,000 a year just in taxes alone. Okay? Whether you own a business or you own real estate. Overages. It's something new. My mom teaches it, brand new. Who here has heard of overages? Nobody here has heard of overages because it's not out in the market yet. Right? Overages is the surplus of money that when the bank is taken away in foreclosure, people think that the bank is owed that and they keep that extra money. Like let's say that the bank was owed 300,000 after fees and attorneys and stuff, and it was sold to 300 for 350,000. They think that the bank takes the 50, but the 50 actually belongs to the seller. Does that make sense? Because he was the owner. Right? Just like if I had this chair, I owned it, but I owed you $10, and I didn't pay you, and you took it away, and somebody paid, like let's say you paid $15 for the chair. What I owed you was $10, and all you wanted $10 for the chair, so the extra $5, who would it go to? You or me? It would go to me, but people don't think about it that way, right? So in real estate, it goes back to the state, or the bank might hold it. Different things happen, but we actually give the sellers their money. So after they leave the house, we can actually skip trace them, get their money, and we get a percentage. You actually don't need a license to do that. If you are interested in making money with us and overages, let us know. We can help you with that. Okay? And the last one is real estate investing. There's a ton of money in real estate investing. It's about literally 10 to 100 times more than being licensed and making money that way. Okay? In fact, let me give you an example. If you're going to buy a house and I was going to represent for 3%, I would make about, on a $300,000 house, I'd make $9,000. But if I were to buy it, repair it, and flip it, I would make $30,000 or $40,000. Which one's better, 9,000 or 40,000 on the same house? Okay? So investing is literally 10 times better. Okay? So let's talk about the traditional buying and selling. When we help people buy a home, main thing we talk about renting versus buying, because most people are scared about buying a house. They think, oh my God, I'm going to owe money for 30 years. And so they see it as big. Why? Because we're talking about debt. It's bad, right? Isn't that pretty much what we're taught? So moving up, downsides, and we help them. We get fast mortgage pre-approvals. We have a Fresh Start program. The Fresh Start program are for the people that don't have a Social Security, they don't have credit, but they do have income, so they could afford a payment, but regularly, like going to a mortgage, they can't get it. We can actually help them. Our investors buy the house and we lease off in this one. Right? So they could own it in the future. It's rent only basically. Okay?
Has to be a resident?
You can ask her more about it after, but you really don't have to be a resident as long as you're making the money and you can afford the payments. That's pretty much what we're looking for. As long as the payments can be paid. Right?
No, but I mean, Social Security number, IPN number?
No, we don't care about that.
No?
Yeah, when we grant deed, on a grant deed, it doesn't even ask for it, so you can own without having Social Security. Yeah. It's the mortgages that want the Social Security because you owe them money and the whole tax thing. Okay. So if you want, write it down on the comments. Did I give you a picture?
Yeah, I got it right
Okay.
there.
Yeah, write it down and she'll answer that. She's actually in charge of the Fresh Start program. We do all the negotiating and we avoid buyers, 6 mistakes that buyers normally do. And we have first-time home buyer assistance. Now, how much money do you think the counties and the state has for first-time home buyers?
That depends on the city, no? Or on the county.
Well, most people think there's a few for 1, 2, or 3 programs, like Shadap, if you guys have heard of Shadap. It's programs to give money to the buyers. We actually have a whole 100 different sources through the cities, counties, nonprofits, so we can actually give money to first-time home buyers. In some cases, sometimes they don't even need to come out with money. That's how much money there is out there to get. Yeah. Selling your home, we show you what your home is worth. We have free modification analysis here. Comparable market analysis on the property. We avoid seller mistakes because sellers make a lot of mistakes. Because if you don't have a good professional, or if you have somebody new, what are the chances of making mistakes with somebody new? Right? So we make sure they avoid that. Pass all the inspections. We give them top dollar for their house. And the people that are foreclosure, like missed payments, we can help stop foreclosure. We show them with 12 different options that they have. Okay. All right. Let's talk about my favorite thing, investments. You guys all like to make money?
Yeah.
All right. All right. So planning makes a difference. Most people, they think of their property as an asset, but you guys know it's a liability. That's Robert Kiyosaki 101. Right? Talked about it in his first book, called Rich Dad Poor Dad. But the reason that is, most people think of it as an asset because if it's going up in value, they think, it's worth that. That means it's an asset for me. But anything that's pulling money out of your pocket every month is a liability. Because if you lose your job or something happens, who's going to pay that payment? Right? You're just going to lose the house, and that's it, right? So if you have one property, it's a liability. Your mortgage payment every month, that's a negative cash flow that's coming out of your own pocket. You have minimum tax benefits and minimum appreciation benefits. What we do is we sit down with clients, we show them how to have multiple properties. Now when you have assets, you have cash flow, which is passive income. Every month is coming in. And most people, what they do is they get stuck on, they ask a few landlords and they say, oh my God, they give you all the horror stories, right? The toilets and the roof and all this stuff, right? But if you have everything set up, you have property management set up, you have that, you're not even dealing with it and you're making money, isn't that good every month? See, most people, they come in and become landlords, and there's a big difference between being a landlord and being an investor. Does that make sense? Huh? You have a planned mortgage payment and payments, asset protection plan, so it's all secured and it's all in different areas. So we talk about that. We set them all up in land trust. We get a living trust and have them all under the living trust. And the corporation, if you're flipping, we put you into an S corp. That way you can flip property. And then you all do your long term, you keep in an LLC. Okay. Now, if this is gibberish to you, I understand. And then when you start coming to classes more, you'll understand more and more. Okay. You have maximum tax benefits, you have maximum appreciation, so now you have, instead of one property, you have 10 houses or 20 houses going up in value. You guys think you're going to make more money that way? Yeah, a lot more, right? Principal reduction with OPM, which is other people's money. You know the awesome thing about having the 10 properties, who pays for them, you or your tenant? Tenant. So your tenants pay for them, and who's getting all the appreciation? You're getting all the appreciation. Right? So literally, they're paying off your debt for you. And people are scared of having one house. Is that pretty crazy? It's literally amazing. And also you get the appreciation benefits from the IRS taxes. So every year, even if it's even at the end of the year, you're gonna get a bunch of money deductions over that. Okay? So why invest in real estate? The income and equity growth, limited supply and demand. Did you guys know there's a limited supply of land in the nation? Yeah, there's only so much. Okay? Now, is there a limited supply of money? There's an unlimited supply of money because they keep printing it. That's why it goes down in value. That's why real estate goes up in value because there's only so much. That's why all the land, they're building the properties like this, right? Instead of that way. Increased demand due to population growth, tax advantages, direct ownership of assets, leverage to increase profits, bankability asset, access to equity. And also banks loan you money to get a house, but do they loan you money for stocks? Do they loan you money to buy gold and silver or anything else to make money? No. So it's a good bankable asset. That's why the rich invest a lot into it because it's leverage. And it's there and you can touch it. It's a big thing. Why diversification of ownership is one. So just a quick example, stocks versus real estate. Because I actually know a lot of people that make a lot of money in stocks. In fact, I know a few millionaires that make money in stocks. So there's a lot of money. But the problem is you can make a lot of money, but you can lose a lot of money real quick. Okay? In real estate, you can actually make money. Even if it's going down or up, you keep getting that rent every month, right? So in stock, if you invest $10,000, you have an asset that's worth how much? $10,000. If the market goes up 5%, by the way, stocks and the real estate, the market's pretty much almost tied together because if people lose their jobs, they can't pay their house and they can't pay, the stocks, right? So if it goes up 5%, you just made $500, okay? And it's secured by paper, right? And who controls it? The owner of the corporation. On the right-hand side, real estate, if you invest the same $10,000, but the asset is worth $100,000, the house in this case is worth $100,000. If the market goes up the exact same 5%, you actually make 50% return on investment because the 5% you get on the $100,000, but you only paid $10,000. Okay? So you actually made $5,000 instead of $500, and now it's secured by property. Is that pretty cool? Mm-hmm. Now, what's the likelihood in 5 years of your house burning down? The insurance will pay for it, but it's very low, right? What are the chances that the stock market will crash? A lot more likely, or something happens to the corporation or it goes down, right? So you can actually control it a lot better. Yeah? So to me, there's just so many, a lot more reasons to invest in real estate. And again, I know millionaires in stocks. You can make a lot of quick money. Like today, if you wanted to, you can make $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 liquid. but it's very versatile. You have to know what you're doing. So, but which one would you rather invest in? Now, housing over the last 100 years, this is where it's gone. Now, this is 1963. This is pretty low. When they were like under $50,000. This is what happened when the crash a few years ago when it went down. Compared to 100 years, it was just a little bump. Okay? Now, most people, if you want to see what's going to happen in the next 100 years, what do? They look at history and see what happens. They say history repeats itself. Even if we have another crash, housing is never going to go down here ever. Do you guys understand that? But the stock market could. Because corporations, when they loan stocks, it's not really backed by anything. They can make as much stocks as they want. Any time where there's no limit to something, it goes to the value that normally is, which is zero. Okay? And the most exciting part about real estate investing, there's so many things that you can concentrate on to make money within real estate. So a lot of people have stuff on flipping, so you can literally just flip houses and make a lot of money. Flipping, wholesaling, if you don't want to keep it. Wholesaling, by the way, is just selling the contract or just, you don't want it, you just make $5,000, $10,000. Buy and hold for cash flow, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, that's my favorite. Apartments, taxing certificates, self-storage units, mobile homes, vacation rentals, we'll talk about this. Secured private lending. This is if you don't even want to deal with real estate, but you want those high returns. Probate, when people die, it goes into probate and it goes to their heirs. Right? So that's a lot of that is going to happen with the baby boomers. Yeah? So this wealth of real estate is going to transfer from all the baby boomers to their heirs. So who needs to help? People that are licensed in real estate. Same thing with financial, all the money, right? Lease options. Lease options is really good. It's a way to control property with less down. And if your credit is shop, if you still want the price of today, you can do a lease option. Okay. Residential, commercial, industrial, or land. Isn't this a lot of things to focus on? Right?
Yeah.
So it's so big, you can work on whatever you want. All right, let's talk about rentals. We actually have a program. We actually talked to a developer and we partnered up, and they're in San Felipe, Mexico. And there's a lot of great rental properties. Or if you guys want, you can rent it out and make money, or you can have it for your retirement later. Okay? So why consider it? The lifestyle out there in San Felipe is a big tourist attraction. Who here has ever been to Cabo San Lucas? Is it a nice place? Huh? What do you like about it?
Everything.
It's a big tourist attraction, right?
Yeah.
Last time I went, there were literally more white people than Mexicans. Did that happen to you?
Yeah, it happens like that. Yeah.
I don't know. That happened to me everywhere I went. I saw a bunch of tourists. Okay? But that's actually happening in South Felipe right now. Okay? There's actually more tourists, and it's happening more and more, and they're building more and more. The healthcare is a lot cheaper than over here. The low cost of living, the economy over there is getting better and better. The safety and security has gotten better. In fact, if you go over they have a free dinner, and we'll talk about that. They talk about safety and security. It's a lot more dangerous to be in LA than it is in Mexico. But what do they show us in the news? Right, every time they talk about Mexico, oh, this is happening, right? All they talk about is the bad and negative stuff, right? Even in LA, they talk about all the shootings. I go by LA all the time. The infrastructure and then airport and highway. So now there's 3 different ways to get in there: by water, land, or by highway. Yeah? They have a brand new highway, and they have awesome tacos and everything that you need. So if you want to explore the possibility, there's a free informational dinner. You can either carpool and go from here, and it's normally in Orange or in Santa Ana. Orange and Santa Ana is where it normally is. And or you can just meet us over there if you want to. Completely free. You can bring, your wife, husband or wife. And they talk about everything, like in detail for an hour, about Mexico, about the land and everything over there. And then they invite you over to a weekend discovery tour. Okay, 3 days. The transportation from Orange is included. It's free, doesn't cost anything. Saturday, Sunday, we come back Monday, and they welcome us with margaritas. Does anybody drink margaritas in here? Okay, you guys like it? And breakfast and lunch is included every single day. Dinner is included on the first day. The only reason dinner is not included on the second day is so you can go out to the Malecon and you can buy whatever you want, seafood, whatever you want. That's what they're famous for, those fish tacos. Really good. All the hotel accommodations are included, so it won't literally cost you anything. Normally, when I go, I take 20 or 40 bucks just in case. I normally don't even use that. There's absolutely no obligation, and a lot of people have asked questions, so I put it up there. The lots, they start at $17,000 right off the beach. Now, can you go anywhere in California and buy a lot for $17,000? Santa Monica or Newport or anywhere? Okay, why? Because supply and demand, right? It's gone up. So over there, because the tours are barely go over there, just like Cabo San Lucas, it would cost a lot more than 17,000. But imagine 30 years before it was popular, would you guys invest in it if you knew it was going to become Cabo San Lucas? You would. You would buy it. All you have to do is sit on it and not even put anything on it, and you'd make money. That's what's happening right now. You have a question?
Is any restriction to buy land in Mexico for the people who is not Mexican?
No, but there's a new law that came in into Mexico, I think like 20 years ago, and a lot of people don't know about it because you did have to be a Mexican citizen before, but now the developers, what they did is kind of like the trust that we have here, like a living trust, they do over there. So they have an attorney and everything set up, so you're basically going to be under a trust if you're not a Mexican citizen. That's how you'll do it.
Okay.
Which is even better because if you die, it's easier to go through your heirs. You don't have to go through probate. It's actually the way you should do it anyway.
Yeah.
But if you're a Mexican citizen, you should do it under your name if you want.
You don't, as of 2 years, you don't have to be Mexican.
Right.
You don't have to.
They have, yeah, they want, just like over here, they want foreigners to buy over there so the economy can get better. So they changed the laws a few years ago. Just like with the United States, that's why Chinese and every other country, they can come over here and spend money on real estate or on anything. Okay? Now, I don't do this hour and a half presentation. This is the developer doing it in Orange, so he can answer your questions a lot better than me. He's been doing it for like 30 years. Okay? And there's financing available. Most companies don't finance land, and they do almost 100%. Right? So it's really cool. And there's no credit checking. Okay? So really good. Now with this, you can go over there and check it out. If you want to just have a full vacation and eat, all weekend, that's fine. But I would do one of two things. I would either buy for my retirement, because if you buy the price now, and 30 years from now, do you think it's going to be more expensive? Okay? So you can either sell it and make money, or keep it for retirement. Okay? Or you can actually buy it, develop it, and rent it out. And there's a few websites where you can rent it out on the weekends, and most people make more on rentals just on the weekends than they do having a rental full time. You guys know that? Because it costs more money. Kind of like hotel, how it costs that much. So they can actually make more money.
How often are these?
They're actually every weekend. So
Every
but
weekend?
us, we go once a month. Yeah. So if you write it down, if you're interested, mark it on the San Felipe Mexican trip. We're gonna try to go like at the end of every month and do the dinner like that week or the week before, and we'll put it on the calendar. So what we'll do is we'll email you what we're gonna do. So pretty cool stuff. We're basically giving you the rentals, financing. That's basically what we're doing. Yeah? All right, you guys ready for the next one? Okay. Cash flow real estate investor. Okay, this is what Robert Kiyosaki and him and the biggest, richest people do. Okay, is buy and hold. And there's a lot of reasons for it. But let's say, for example, there's a purchase price of $300,000. By the way, this is the average right here, so I'm not going, out of proportion. So let's say you do a down payment 10%. So this is your second or third home. That's $30,000 you put down. If the mortgage is a 30-year at 5%, which you can get a lot lower, I'm just showing you guys as an example. That's $1,400 a month. That's the mortgages. If you rent it out for $1,800, then your cash flowing $350. Okay, it's not that much. You're not getting rich, but that's okay, right? An extra $350 a month. So if you do the ROI, the amount of money, this times 12 will give you the profit that you have per year. So that's $4,200 divided by your investment of $30,000. If you divide that and multiply by 100, that's your return on investment percentage. So you're getting 14% return on your money. Now, do you guys know what the bank gives you? You go over to the bank and open up a CD? 1%. Not even 2%. Let me know where the 2% is now. So that's how I win it. 0.01 or 0.03%. And you, by the way, when there's a percent, that means you have to, when you want to multiply, you have to take out the percent and add two more decimals, so it gets even larger as far as the zeros behind it. And so it's even worse. If it was 2%, I would go. Right? But it's pretty bad. So it's 14%, way better than that.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is worst case scenario. Right? When we buy properties, we never buy them retail. That's number one. We never normally put that much down on them. And our mortgages are way better than that we get. So you would be cash flowing way more than $350. But even worst case, this is pretty good compared to anything else. Right? So how do you like your ROI? Now for private lenders, these are the people that, they're scared to own a bunch of real estate. They don't want to learn that protection. They just want to make money. So this is what you would do. And let's say this is you, and you have some money to invest, and you have us or anybody else that are real estate investors that are true real estate investors that know what they're doing. Maybe they were mentored and they go through, right? What happens is this person becomes a secured private lender, gets a promissory note, and they're normally the first or the second secured by the property. Does that make sense so far? Okay. So you're secured by the property. Your money is secured depending on the deal. You can be placed in either a trustee, a promissory note, a stock and LLC. This is normally what we do right now, so you guys know. We get insurance, a bond, or land trust and corporate structures. But like I said, normally we give you stock in the LLC that controls it. Okay? You're basically one of the shareholders. Now, the partner with the real estate investor is going to do, what their job is to make ugly houses look at the pretty houses. Okay? That's basically what they do. And they're really the only ones that do it out there, make money, because realtors, they just represent buyers and sellers, and banks aren't into the business of doing this. Banks just loan money. Does that make sense? Okay? So the only ones that could do it are investors. So if you look at the after repair value, how much it's going to be worth once it's pretty, $300,000, the average in Fontana. So if we purchased it for $220,000, the repairs are $20,000, and the miscellaneous fees is $20,000, just round numbers. Miscellaneous fees is title, escrow, other fees, termites, realtor fees, any of that stuff. So the profit is $20,000. Okay, if you did this once a month, is that pretty good as an investor? Yeah. So you want to? Okay. So as a secured private lender, there's only two things that can happen, right? Either the deal goes right or the deal goes wrong. Most people don't even get into real estate because they're scared that all the things that go bad are going to happen to them, right? Yeah. But let's have these two scenarios, okay? Let's say it goes right. Let's say this person invested $100,000. They got 10% return. Normally our projects are about 2 to 3 months. So after 3 months, if they get $10,000, that's pretty good. Way more than the bank could give, right? So that's $110,000. Way better than the 0.025%. But what if it goes wrong? This is what most people talk about, right? You know what happens? Now you have the house. Now what we do in our own contract, if we don't pay you, oops. If for some reason you're not paid, then it automatically goes to you. You don't even have to foreclose on the investors, right? Because we're so confident that you're going to get your money and we know what we're doing. Does that make sense? As the investors. So if it goes wrong, you get the property. If you get the property, what happens? Now you can sell it at retail or full price to a buyer. So do you make more profit? You actually make way more than this. Is this pretty good? You guys don't look that happy.
So is your real estate company right here, they do Harmony,
We have different branches, but yes, the real estate investors, we do have that. Or you can rent it out for cash flow, like I showed you, so you can keep the property. That's actually, if you can do that, I would do that if I were you. Because if anything happens to the economy, if you have property, even if the money goes to zero, you can still rent it out to people that can barter with you. You guys know before there was money, we can just barter. If I need clothes and you can create clothes, I'll rent you out the house, you make me clothes. Or if you can feed my family if you have a farm. Or if you can repair my car. Does that make sense? So if you have property, the more property is better, assuming the economy went to crap. Okay? Or you can wholesale to another investor and now you can make a profit. Yeah. And in that case, if you're going to wholesale, that assumes that the investor didn't do all the repairs on it, and you don't want to deal with the repairs, then you can just wholesale to somebody and make money. You get all your money back plus a little bit of the profit. So more than likely, you'll probably make this anyway. Okay, real estate agents. You guys like that on the real estate investing?
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of money in that. Now, real estate agents, they're licensed by the state of California. Now, the industry education cost, this is normally like the biggest industries. In the computer industry, if you become a software engineer degree, it takes about 8 years plus. And the average cost, and this isn't for me, I forgot to put it on the bottom, but it's from a certain company that does surveying. But the average cost is $126,000, so $194,000 to get that degree over 8 years to become that. In the medical industry, over 12 years of school, average $200,000. But the real estate industry, all you have to do is obtain your license, and the average cost $500 to $1,500. Now it actually costs $1,500 with everything, with the application fee, with the state, and the classes and everything, the books. The only reason I put up the $1,500 is assuming you need for your business. Once you're already licensed, you're gonna need business cards. You're gonna need, for cell signs and the whole thing. So I just put $1,500. So which one costs a lot less? But just like with anything, most people you probably see. Maybe tonight you'll probably Google how many people fell in real estate and stuff like that. But what people don't understand is most people fail at everything. Did you guys know that? Right? Most people fail from college. Most people go to school and they do that. Most people fail at going into sports. Most people fail at everything. So in real estate, it's the exact same thing. Even though you pay less, in fact, actually more people, in my opinion, fail because they only pay so much and they don't want to put into 12 years or 8 years of learning. Right? They try it for a month, 2 months, 3 months. If they don't make any deals, what do? They leave the industry, right? Here in the computer industry and medical, you're already in 12 years. You're not going to go back, right? So the likelihood of going back, this one, I only paid 500, whatever, and then they start blogging that real estate doesn't work. Right? More millionaires have been made in real estate than any other industry in the world. And because you've been mentored in real estate. In fact, all millionaires and billionaires, most people invest in real estate because of the leverage. And a lot of business owners, what they do is they make their money in real estate and then they invest it into their business and they become a multi-millionaire or billionaire in their business. What they don't tell you is they made it originally in real estate. So real estate agent compensation, this slide alone, this is what Century 21 and those other companies, this is all they have for agents. So personal production, for example, $300,000 house. You guys are probably going to get tired of that number, huh? 300,000 for a sleep about and have nightmares on. If you multiply that by 3%, that's how much agents get on average gross, 9,000. So if you represent the seller and the buyer, then just double that. Okay? But in this case, we're just talking about one side. So we pay anywhere from 40 to 90% to real estate agents, depending on their experience level. And that's normally what companies do, Century 21 and Remax, all these companies that do the exact same thing. Okay? Except lower and they have franchise fees. And so I like to think there's 3 types of people. The first one is a part-time starter agent. If you're licensed and you're helping about 1 family per month, it's not a lot of families, right? How much time will that take? Not very much time, right? So if you're at the lowest low, 40%, you're still making $3,600 a month. Then most people go to school 2-3 years to make that, right? And you can do it starting month 1 if you wanted to. Second type of person is experienced agent. They might come from Remax or Century 21, or they just get on the ball and start doing more. If you become a licensed agent helping 2 families per month, not a big jump from the last one, right? But they're at a higher contract because they're a little more experienced. That's $10,000 a month, a little better, right? But if you're, number 3, a full-time rock star, you're licensed agent helping 4 families per month, so 1 a week, and they're a little higher normally. So 80%, it's not even the highest, but 80%, that's $28,000 per month. Now we're not even talking about investing or doing anything else. This is just being licensed. Is that pretty good? Could you imagine if you added this to the investing? You guys know if you're licensed and you buy a property, who gets that percentage when you buy it? When you represent yourself? You do. Yeah, you can. You just represent yourself in the contract. My mom, on all the properties that she's ever gotten, normally she does that. And so when she gets the commission, the seller pays it because it comes from the house, and she uses that money while she's repairing, or sometimes just to hold it, like if they're still building and doing stuff. So really, no money comes out of her pocket. Is that pretty cool?
Yes.
And the best investors are the licensed ones that you know both sides of it, and you have access to the properties a lot faster than regular investors. You're already licensed, you have the super. Is that pretty cool? So $28,000 just to represent families is not bad, right? You guys think this is pretty good? The highest amount that she's done, my mom has done, is 10 families a month. Yeah? So 4 is very reasonable. Right? Okay. We also have team override bonuses. If you go to any job and you refer a friend, how much do they pay you normally?
Nothing.
Nothing, right? That's why today multi-level marketing companies are starting up and making more money because people see it as a good side money. So here we did the same thing. We added to it. So we give you 5%. So if you refer agents and they're at 60%, they're all going to make their own money, $6,000 per month. But because you refer them, you're going to get $1,500 in this case per month, extra on top of everything. Is that pretty cool? That way you're not scared to bring people. The more you bring, the more you make. We also have a car bonus. $500 per month. The way this works is if you close 5 transactions per month, you get the $500 bonus. But it's not just you by yourself producing, it's you and your team. So if you literally bring one, but you have 4 team members and they all brought one each, then you get the car bonus. So it's everyone included. Pretty good? Even if your car is paid off, you can use it on gas, you can use it on insurance, whatever you want. We also have a leadership pool. 1% from every transaction goes into a pool, and then we share it at the end of the year. We actually pass out the check on November, so that way you can use the money for December on your presents. Yeah? Is that pretty good? That's a good Christmas, right? Although they should be around the summer, huh? We also have incentive dream trips. A lot of, actually 50, did you guys know 54% of the people in the United States don't travel overseas and don't see the world? 54%, that's more than half. Yeah? So we have incentive dream trips, so if you're making money with us, you get to go on free trips. In fact, we have one right now. This is our incentive. It's Cancun, Mexico, 4 days and 3 nights. And this is how you get it. If you close 5 transactions before November 30th, then you get to go. You and somebody else. It can be your wife, your husband, whoever. Who here has gone to Cancun? It's always the same people over here. Is it pretty good? I haven't been there yet. How is it? Huh?
This is my cool stuff. Last year I went to Italy in Cancun, but I went to Playa. Yeah, right off Cancun.
Okay. So what can I expect when I go to Cancun? Anything good?
You love Mother Nature, you gotta
Good. Some other advantages, turnkey, there's no desktop, there's no job risk. You can do this part-time and learn as you go. No experience required. And we start you off with a $1,000 credit for marketing material. So agents get reimbursed on their first transaction. So anything that you paid for your business, we reimburse on your first transaction. Okay? And it's a concept that gains well for you and your family because you're not just getting them a house and selling them a house. You're actually, if you're coming and learning about finance, helping create wealth. Is that pretty cool?
Yeah.
Probably should have brought my charger.